All right, welcome everyone to Virtually Incorrect. I am Gunter, your host tonight. For those new, Virtually Incorrect is a weekly panel discussion show about virtual reality in virtual reality. Topics that are interesting to the VR community will be semi-seriously discussed with the panel each week, with nothing off limits and nothing censored. Before we introduce our guest, I want to thank the fantastic Riftmax crew for producing and editing the show, as well as my amazing guest, the folks here in the Riftmax audience, and everyone watching via the Hitbox stream or YouTube. Tonight we have a special show for you. We have 7 great guests around the table that are all going to tell us all kinds of great stuff about the SVVR conference, because they were there and they experienced it. So I'm really excited about this, and thank you all. So let's introduce everybody. We have Cris Miranda, host of Enter VR. How you doing, man?
Doing well. How's everybody doing?
Oh, we're rocking it. And we have Anticleric, developer of Technolust. Thanks for coming back.
No problem. Hey, everybody.
And Cris was also on a previous show. I think a lot of the folks on this panel have been, so really appreciate you coming back. We also have eVRydayVR, bringing us great content via his YouTube channel. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
We also have Jespionage, developer of Snowdrift and co-developer of VR Chat. What's going on?
Hey, Gunter. Glad to be here. Hi, everybody.
Great to see you again. MattStompz is also here, creator of StompZ, a novel foot controller. Welcome.
Thanks, guys. What's going on?
And we also have Reverend Kyle, VR evangelist and part of the Road to VR team.
Hey.
So let's dive into some discussion here and talk some SVVR. I'm just going to kick it off to my right with Everyday VR. Why don't you tell us some the cool experiences you had, or maybe some of the food you ate out there. Anything you want to share.
All right, no problem. So this was a local conference for me. I just drove like an hour to get there, so it wasn't too expensive or anything. And I got to meet a lot of people in the community who I'd met on this show or in VR chat or elsewhere. I met them in real life for the first time. That was really exciting. There were a bunch of hardware I saw that I'd never seen before, including most notably Project Morpheus, SVVR. Shout out to Matt, and just a whole bunch of other really cool stuff. Things are progressing at an amazing rate, and I saw some demos that I came home and did like videos of because I thought they were so cool, like Ethereum, and on top of that, the panels were just amazing. Like we a lot of really important people discussing a lot of cool topics. A lot of kind of the big players in the Metaverse space weighing in. Palmer Luckey was there, of course, and he was doing the rounds. So it was super exciting.
Oh wow, that's awesome. That's really awesome. So thanks for sharing that. Let's just keep it going around the table. Reverend Kyle, how about your experience?
Oh, I can say that I had a good time. It was just amazing to meet, like Dee said, just amazing to meet all these people that I've talked to. And even like Palmer said, you meet these people online and you feel like you really know them. You do, but then you get to meet them in real life. It's just totally amazing. The hardware, all sorts of fun toys. I was a kid in the candy store the whole time. And then, of course, when we went and did our Ubercast for Palmer to just, meander in, that was pretty cool.
All right, thanks. And we have Cris from Enter VR. Take it away.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience. I think a story that sort of encapsulates the whole thing was I was talking to the security guard because I'm random like that, and she was telling me, she's like, I worked a lot of events. I've done a Facebook event, I've done a Google event, I've done this and that other events, and she's like, this is the first event I've seen people where they actually want to be here. And she was telling me how they don't want to leave either. Like during the first day, like closing hours, people did not want to leave, and same thing with the second day. And it just sort of it goes to show how vibrant this community is and how amazing the future is going to be.
It's just one big party.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll elaborate on that a little bit. I absolutely had the best time there. I've been to a few conferences and I had the best time, and I was one of those people who didn't want to leave on the first day. And finally, we got shuffled out of the expo room by Bruce when security was telling him we had to go, and then he shuffled us out of the lobby. And then we were all hanging out outside wondering what to do, and one of us decided that sushi would be a really good idea, and so that person was Palmer, and Palmer and a bunch of us, there's like 13 of us, went out to a sushi restaurant just to keep the day going longer, and like our benefactor bought us all sushi, and Rev was there, and Bruce was there, and
The best sushi of your life.
Okay,
it was really good.
Yeah, that was amazing because we were all standing out in the parking lot, and Palmer just put his foot down. He goes, "I want sushi," and so everybody was just like, "We're going to get sushi now, I guess."
It was awesome sushi too.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good. The only thing that sucked was I ordered what was called the Microsoft roll, and it took forever for it to get to the table.
Come on.
I'm serious. It did. Everybody else's got there before mine.
That's hilarious.
See, I'm jealous of you all. I had to go home and do work, and you were all having sushi while I was stuck in traffic. Screw you guys.
Oh,
I
man.
miss sushi too.
Of course,
Yeah, we did.
The picture. I mean, you guys all saw the Last Supper picture. That's a
You
funny
see,
story.
now I thought that picture should have actually been titled "The First Supper."
Right. Well,
Yeah.
it was done in haste.
Yeah. It was a great shot. I've shown a lot of people.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so go ahead,
Yeah,
man.
go ahead. Well, I was
I was
just going to
just-
say that, how it actually got started with that picture was that we were all just standing there, and Palmer had just naturally sat in the middle of the big table, and I was joking. It's just, I was just saying, hey, okay, everybody on this side of the table for a photo, and because that's a quote from a movie, and everybody was just like, huh? And then I realized, oh, wait. This would be a really good idea. No, I'm serious. Everybody get on this side of the table. And then people were getting their phones out, pulling up pictures of the Last Supper, trying to see what it looks like so they could duplicate it. So funny. And then the actual waiter, I think, ended up taking the picture.
That's a historic photo.
It's so cool. Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Matt, you're up next.
Yeah, so, man, I tell you, it was really cool to just immediately see these guys, Rev and Jesse, Olivier, Anticleric, and every day, just seeing the first time outside, in meat space. And it was just so natural. Like, I was kind of like a neat little psychology thing where you kind of were expecting it to be a little offset. You don't expect anybody to see you in your meat space uniform, and everybody just knows you as your avatar. And then as soon as I saw these guys, man, it was just natural. Like we were still best friends, and that was the coolest part for me of this whole conference. Was I don't feel like I've ever had this many friends in real life. I just showed up, and it was like an entire conference of buddies, and that was cool. So I got to hang out with Rev, Olivier the first night. We had some drinks. That was fun. The second night I got to hang out with this fool, Anticleric. We tied one on. Kind of made it rough the next day. but then, the whole conference was just like that. It was just like, you're kind of running over the next guy's booth, like, oh, dude, let me check this out. I've been wanting to try your stuff for so long. And then, going to the, you follow me to this other guy. And so, yeah, we were all just, kids in a candy store, like you said.
So up next, we've got Bob, Coznefx. Please share some stories.
Sure. Yeah. So this was the first VR conference I'd been to in 20 years. I flew out on Friday, so I got to check out the Maker Faire over the weekend. So we got to see like Cast AR and the SVVR guys had a booth there too. So that was really cool. And then Monday the conference, man, even just at the beginning there were just so many people just coming up and talking to us, and it was everyone was really approachable and friendly, and I just had an incredible time. First day I was kind of going around helping Kyle doing the videos, so I was kind of like the guy behind the camera, and
My
so
human
that's
tripod.
yeah. So that was a lot of fun, and then on Tuesday, it just continued. Got to try out a lot of. I didn't get to try out everything, but I tried out a lot of the demos and hardware. And then
Nobody got to try out everything.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, agree.
And then on Tuesday night, went out to dinner with Reverend Kyle, the guys from Road to VR, and the guys from Virtual Reality Ventures from Australia. And man, the stuff that those guys are working on is just mind blowing.
Oh yeah.
Well, we also have here with us Anticleric. Matt already mentioned you as being there with everybody and hanging out. So tell us some experiences and what you liked about SVVR.
Well, I'm a little bummed that I missed the sushi dinner, but like Matt said, we were out getting trashed at the bar. We looked for it, but
Where I would have been.
yeah, well, it's okay. I was still hanging out with cool people. I actually saw Palmer on his way into the conference. Gave him a high five. Got a hug from Cymatic Bruce. What more can you ask for? I think I actually did get to try out everything. I could probably run down a list of my likes and don't likes. But yeah, it was a blast. Most of all, the people were the best part of it. Like everyone said, I met a lot of great people, a lot of great business contacts as well, and yeah, it was super fun.
Are you guys able to speak about some things that could be done better? Critique of the SVVR, conference? Anybody?
A dedicated drinking hole for after the conference would be ideal.
Yes.
Because we ended up just all kind of confused and like ungrouping at the end of the conference, which I was a little bummed out by. I kept going to Bruce, what's happening? Where are we going? It's like, oh, I'm going to bed.
We should plan out an after party, like before that, like a legit after party.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I like Blair's idea that you should have they brought out drinks, and I was under the impression that we were just gonna be there for quite a while, and then 6 o'clock rolled around, and they were like, doors are closing, get out, and yeah, it was pretty, because everybody was like, oh, okay, where are we gonna go, and that's kind of why everybody disintegrated like we did, but
yeah, scheduled or a certain place where the after party is going to be, and then everybody will go there.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'd also say maybe do an expo the entire time, because it ended up being that anyways. But then the speeches were going on also, so it was kind of like the expo was always going on, and then the speeches were in between those. So the format was kind of weird like that. Like close the doors or have it just all the time.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't a complaint, but I didn't get to any of the speeches because I was demoing the whole time, and I actually think that's awesome. I went there to demo after all, but I was under the impression it was going to be different, that I'd get to go then, that the expo hall would be closed for certain hours and open for certain hours.
Well, I think it was supposed to be, but it just didn't work out that way because there were just so many people who were just like hovering around the door, or they didn't want to leave the expo. I know, the Sony guys were, when I walked up to do my demo, they were like, oh no, we're going to close. And I'm like, no, you're not.
I have a couple ideas. One, I think that they should have a time maybe before the conference starts or something where the media can kind of go around and check everything out really quick. And also for the people who are actually doing, showing stuff off, that they get a chance to go around and try everything as well. Another thing was, I think some of the demos were kind of too tightly squeezed together. You had like notebooks on top of notebooks, and just like, there's a crowd of people at certain spots. I mean, even though that it was, there really wasn't a whole lot of people there. I mean, you could, go, second day you could go and when I got in line for DK2, there's only one person in front of me, so you'll never see that again. But they can do some stuff better, but overall I think that they did an awesome job for a first conference.
Yeah,
Hopefully we'll never see the DK2 again.
Yeah, here.
How about some experiences, something that you didn't expect, something that you didn't see before? Was there anything like that?
Morpheus was awesome. I was so impressed
Yes.
by Morpheus.
Yes.
So
They
good.
did it. It was a good demo. It was a basic demo, but man, yeah, it was one of the best experiences I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I think Oculus can take a lesson from them just on the demo they used. Like, nothing compares to beating the crap out of something with a sword, especially not sitting on a couch. Like, Couch Knights just doesn't do it for me.
Absolutely agree.
I like Couch
I don't
Knights,
know.
but motion controls
do
are
too.
so important. Like, right now, that's just the big advantage of Project Morpheus. They have out-of-the-box standard motion controls. Everybody who will have a Morpheus will have the same controls. Developers can depend on them.
Yeah, I also think Couch Knights is awesome, and that Sony has the input thing. They have the best alternative to that. It's standard.
I asked Palmer on the Ubercast about this. I told him, like, what do you think about Morpheus having a controller? And I don't know. I don't know how to interpret his answer. I mean, what do you guys think on? Do you remember what he said?
That was a great
He said it's not
question.
designed for VR from the ground up, right? It was something that's been there already before, and that we'll need controllers
But it
really
works.
built.
And it might as well
But
have
is it
been.
going to work as well we want it to?
Yeah,
I
but the
think
keyboard
isn't
and
the
mouse
crap-
works too.
Palmer's response to me meant like he thought that someone could do better, but that Sony has it now is a big advantage.
See, I translated it as they are working on input with haptic feedback right now, and as soon as they
No,
get it
I
done,
highly
they'll put
doubt
it
that.
out.
I didn't.
Well, I
I
don't
didn't
know.
get that.
So, I know for a fact Oculus isn't working on a glove.
Well,
Why? How?
Secrets.
Yeah,
You just
I'm
told
not
us.
sure. I also did kind of interpret that they were working on some input thing, and I think that would be wise for them to do, but it's taken them 2 years to launch their headset, and it will take them a long time to launch their input too. It's not going to come out this year or probably next, so there is going to be a long time there where the standard system that Sony has is going to be an advantage for them.
I
And now
interpret
the
it
problem
as-
is Samsung is rushing. Right?
Yes.
Like Samsung is rushing their headset. Sorry, Anticleric, go ahead.
That's okay. I was just I interpreted his answer as motion controls suck right now. Like they're not good enough. Like, and I agree with that. So I don't know. And I highly doubt that they're working on motion controls of their own. Like right now they're talking about selling the Rift at cost. That means they don't want to make money on the hardware. They're going to start up a software division and make money on software, right? So
okay.
let
So
somebody
being a
else deal with the
hardware guy-
controller.
See, I interpret.
Sorry.
Go
Can
ahead,
I go ahead and hijack this real quick? I've been itching to ask Anticleric this because being a hardware guy and you're kind of a real stickler on what it is that you're looking for in input devices. I was just wondering what you would look for, what you would want in your standard, perfect input devices.
Depends on the game, right? Like the demo that Morpheus was running, they had the perfect motion controls for it. Wireless, 1-to-1, as long as you don't turn around and cover their ball or whatever, right? That's fine. I don't think any of this magnetic crap works. Like I've resunk my drift like 10 times since we've been here. I hate these things. I'm like right now I'm happy with the mouse and keyboard and a controller until somebody wows me with like a haptic hydraulic suit or something. Like I don't know. We need to wait for the Oculus of motion controls.
Have you tried Prio VR?
No, I haven't tried Prio VR. I'd love to, but I think that's still a while off. And honestly, Prio VR isn't something I want to like. I don't want to climb into a suit to play a video game. I want to I would use Prio VR for doing motion capture stuff live and recording it straight into my games. That would be amazing. But I'm really not interested in it as a peripheral.
So, I was going to mention, you asked about things we saw at the show and learned about that we didn't know much about before, and there was a bunch of stuff at the show about the Metaverse that I'd never heard of before, like kind of Second Life's plans for how they're developing, and I'm forgetting what's their new competitor's name.
High Fidelity?
Yeah, High Fidelity.
That's not the
And
competitor, is it?
They're not. Yeah.
not exactly a competitor.
Philip Rosedale was the Second Life creator, and I'm pretty sure they still collaborate.
It's Second Life. It's Third Life.
Right, but like I didn't even know how High Fidelity's like basic architecture worked, and they talked a lot about that, and there was a lot of talk in the keynote and in the panel about the metaverse about that stuff, and I thought it's really interesting how they envision things like ownership of property in the metaverse, and kind of and how they handle the massive processing requirements and things like that.
I was really disappointed with High Fidelity, though. Like, with a name like High Fidelity, you would expect it to not look like Wii.
Well, the art style is kind of arbitrary.
Well, yeah,
I don't disagree
but
with
really
you.
all it was a combination of everything. It was like a Kinect with motion controls, and like what is that? Like, it was Riftmax Theater, like
Yeah.
2.0.
Well,
Like, there
no, it
was
wasn't.
I didn't see
No.
anything.
It wasn't Riftmax because with the Riftmax you use the Rift.
Yeah, so is there any
Right,
answer to
exactly.
that? Was there any more
They,
or the same question? We don't know.
Yeah, they explained a little bit about why they went with that low resolution or that crappy quality looking avatar was just because of that uncanny valley. They felt people were more comfortable when they had the face tracking, because I don't know if you saw face space, but man, they can make it look legit. It can look just very close to being just like you, but they decided not to. They decided to make it more cartoonish because it was disturbing for people and it was uncomfortable. So
Right.
they made it cartoony.
And you can't
Okay,
do
but
it with
wait
a
a
rift
minute.
on your face.
Well,
That too.
and we're not. Are we all uncomfortable right now looking at each other because this is already 3 or 4 or 10 times better than what they were shown in High Fidelity?
Right. Nope.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
I mean, Kaz, you're pretty, you freak me out a little with that, that head there.
I think it's beautiful.
This is closest
Gunter!
hair color.
That was
I don't
very
think-
insensitive.
Actually, Bob looks
I've been
just
drinking,
like
I'm
that in
sorry.
real life.
Yeah.
I don't think
Racist.
Philip has really been paying attention to what's been going on with things like Riftmax or VR chat. He came by the booth at one point, and actually he jumped into VR chat because the European meetup was going on. It was Monday at noon, so the Europeans were all in there, and he jumped in and he answered a few questions in there for the European audience, and he thought it was really cool to see kind of what he was going for in miniature. So I think
Yeah.
he'd be impressed with what VR chat and what Riftmax have put together.
Well, that's what I mean, and that's
I'll
why
invite
I
him
was
on.
unimpressed. Because these things are already happening, and we don't have Philip
It's-
Rosedale's name tacked onto it.
High Fidelity, though, it does a lot of things that these projects aren't doing. It has ability for individual users to script things and for users to run part of the simulation on their own machines, and they have their voxel-based simulations, and there's a lot of kind of technical stuff, and they're very low latency. They focus a lot on latency. I think that's where the High Fidelity part comes from.
There you go, Jesse. You got some
Challenge
work to do.
accepted.
Yeah, but with your SDK, man, I mean, you're getting there with all the self-made stuff.
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah, that's true. I was checking out one of Dark Akuma's rooms today. That's coming along really well.
Right on.
I love that guy.
So what else, folks? What else was awesome? Some more stories. Got a little
One
bit
thing
more of
that
the show to go.
I saw that I didn't know about, which was pretty cool to try out, was WorldViz, and so we got to try out
Yeah.
like a $35,000 head-mounted display, and you got to kind of like walk around a little bit and take the leap of faith off of a high platform.
Right, it was
Yeah,
a suicide simulator.
They clearly have not read the best practices guide.
Right.
I found that to be the least compelling demo at SVVR. I'm sorry. It's just like they have this headset with these two micro displays, and the resolution of them combined is like maybe like a little bit less than CV1 will be of the Rift. And I'm not like their camera setup for positional tracking was great and all, but I don't know what they plan to. Like this thing is extremely expensive. It's a commercial product that costs thousands of dollars, and it seems like a
It's
last
not
gen
meant-
thing.
Yeah, it's
I
not
felt the
meant
same thought.
for consumer release. They're
Right,
not.
That's why I thought it was cool to actually try out one of the higher end HMDs, and and actually see that, the consumer stuff is catching up really quick.
Yep.
Yeah, but Blair was right. The demo was to be desired. They could have gone so much better. They had that entire booth space that you could run around in. You know what I mean? That they could kind of do it on rails, or have a scripted walk. But what they went with was just, you walk down one way, you turn around, you walk halfway down, it lifts you up in virtual reality, and then you step off the platform. It was effective because people with fear of heights did get that reaction of I can't move my feet, but it wasn't very good for what it could have been.
There's another problem too.
Place either. It was just like a shitty warehouse,
And also, there's like a segment of the population, such as myself, which I don't get VR anxiety. I mean, that's how Snowdrift came to be. I had no clue people were going to find that sickening because I don't feel it. And so when I did that demo, it underwhelmed me because I just stepped off and it wasn't a big deal. I didn't feel anything. I didn't get an adrenaline rush. I was kind of disappointed because there was this great booth and I didn't get any experience out of it at all.
For those that have tried it, and have any of you guys played Minecraft or Minecraft? And you can jump off something there very high, and I've experienced that. Is that similar or something different?
Minecraft is fucking scary. It's just like when you're playing Minecraft in the Rift, and I remember trying to climb trees and get to the top of them, and just feeling so scared to not fall. This wasn't it. When I tried the World Viz, I mean, not to knock on them, but it might be because I've had the Rift for such a long time, and I've tried all these other demos that are crazy, like Half-Life 2, but it wasn't it.
Yeah,
I don't think the was 1-to-1.
It really shows you how important content is. I mean, you can have the $35,000 headset. You can have DK2 is everybody's all over DK2 and Oculus, and they really are excited about it. And then Sony shows up and they just have a better demo, pretty much the exact same hardware as far as I'm concerned, and it blows it away.
Right, and this was actually a big problem, I think, with STEM. STEM's demo at GDC and at SVVR, was reasonable, but it had some bugs and it had some weirdness to it, and I think that really, for me, affected my impression of the experience, even though I knew it wasn't really about the hardware.
Exactly. Like if in the STEM demo they let you pick up something that was ultra high res that you could examine closely or something, but they had crappy postage stamp size textures on boxes of ammunition. It was okay, well, I saw this on a YouTube video. I'm not impressed.
And they still had the warping problem. So really, all I got to see was a souped-up Hydra. That's all I was really using.
Yeah,
and
a wireless
you could
Hydra.
Right, wireless Hydra. You could tell that there were still problems. I mean,
right, and they still haven't revamped their system. They're still working on it, but
right.
Apparently, they were having a lot of problems just with magnetic interference in the building as well, which
so was Oculus.
Problem. Yeah,
Oculus was having problems. Their booth was down several times, and the cameras weren't working.
They were right next to each other too.
Yeah,
that wasn't magnetic interference or anything, though. I think they just they had some kind of technical problem that setting up the booth. I don't know what it was.
Yeah,
I don't know. It happened a couple times.
For Oculus.
Just to be fair really quick to Sixcent, the CEO of Mir, he has been super open at the SVVR meetups lately. So in that sense, I mean, they acknowledge that they're not, at where they want to be, and they, announced that they're laying the Kickstarter. But yeah, I agree. The Hydra as it stands leaves much to be desired.
Yeah.
You know what bummed me out about Amir was on the panels, they asked the panelists, who were fairly prestigious, right? This is Palmer that wouldn't answer the question, but he asked, what do you think it would be the killer app for VR? And Amir, of course, names the two games that have STEM support.
Yeah, that's typical.
That's kind of a cop-out.
Well, I'm just upset that that the stem still doesn't have the modules. I mean, at this point in development, when they're supposed to be shipping, they still have a broken out stem pack. It's basically the controller that's just been stripped down and applied to the strap of the Oculus. That was really disappointing. I expected to see.
Yeah, that was goofy looking.
video.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So
they're not
I'm
gonna
sure they're
need that
working on it.
eventually, right? Because
Get it together, folks.
DK2 will have positional tracking by itself.
Well, the things that you'll need it for are, like the Omni.
Right. Is anyone actually buying that aside from Rev Kyle?
I got one.
I'm not buying an Omni.
Oh, right.
I literally
It's
could not
killing
fit
me right
an
now, I
Omni
can't tell
anywhere
you.
in my apartment.
No, me either. I think it's ridiculous. I think that whole thing is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have a bad back, so I'm going to enjoy some of these lengthy, times I spend in the Rift standing up some of the times. It's an option I want.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I might be the odd man out here because I think I would get it. I wouldn't get the Omni, but I want to run around in VR. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
VR room. Build a VR room.
Perhaps, yeah. Or joystick.
Go
controllers.
joysticks.
Yeah.
So I think the one thing that I took out of this conference that I didn't think I was going to take out of it was my hate for all these motion control systems. Like, it was amplified like 20 times. I didn't like anything I tried. Nothing was good enough, and I was actually really disappointed by that. I was expecting a lot more from STEM. I was expecting a lot more from tactical haptics. Like, and I feel bad because, like, on the panels, I even was throwing them under the bus. But it's like, they're just not there, man. Like, the tactical haptics was just not there.
See,
Cut
we
me
had
deep
this
now.
discussion already. We already had this discussion, but I'll share a little bit of it. I like tactical haptics. I think their demos really showed off a good example of why their technology is necessary, or something similar to it. They had a roller coaster, and it was weird because I really wanted to do the fishing one, and I enjoyed it, but their roller coaster experience was amazing. I mean, as you were going up and down the hill, it was pulling in your hand, and you were holding on and going up and down and left and right, and it increased the roller coaster experience tenfold for me. I mean, that right there sold me on it.
I think for me, it's like a suspension of disbelief thing. Like, I knew what was in my hands. It was the same problem with the World Viz thing. Like, I have a 35-pound thing on my head, and like with the tactical haptics, I know, okay, I just have like cheap pieces of plastic slipping around in my hands. It just really didn't do it for me.
Well, don't look
Yeah, I
at
think
it.
it's
Stop
close.
looking at it.
Well, I think that we're everybody judges these things, but again, like you said, we're still in the fetus stage. I mean, I like to think of things as that he did that with a 3D printer and some servos that he got from Radio Shack. Imagine what he could do if somebody actually funded him. He could just like with Technolust. The Technolust demo was awesome. It was very cool, but it was just a room. I'm just giving an example. Of course, everybody hated it, but so if you gave him $1 million, I'm just giving out a figure. What could he do with that? What could you do with $1 million with Technolust? These things could be really, really awesome. And I think he's the one who's heading down the right path. He's got the right idea.
We should avoid comparing kind of software and hardware of the same numbers.
Right. Well, I'm just giving an example.
But I mean,
my feelings.
I think tech.
Who's
I don't
the
know.
one who said he hated all the hardware devices he saw at the
Sorry,
SVVR?
man.
Yeah,
Come on.
listening to the software guy.
Break out
talking
the
about hardware.
Jedi.
Come on, man.
I'm mixed. I'm so mixed on the tactical haptics because like they have certain times when their demos, like I just get a feeling it's like that almost felt like a real thing that was so close, where they give me feelings I didn't think were possible with controllers, and then like other times where it's just like, okay, this just feels like it's slipping around. My suspension of disbelief is breaking now, and it helps a lot to have the Rift on. Like the first couple times I did it without the Rift, and with the Rift on, you can't see what you're holding for one thing, and I imagine if you combined it with some kind of glove or hand controller that where you'd be able to see your hands in the space and also feel like the thing that they're touching, I think those two senses would add up.
Speaking of things we've never felt before, did you guys at all encounter anyone with Teledildonics device at the conference?
No,
No one was there. I don't think they would demo that.
Best question of the night. I've been dying to hear about this. I know somebody tried one.
There was a Novin Falcon
right
there, but it
There was a Falcon there?
Yeah.
you guys don't have your VR dildos in?
No. I don't think Leaf is giving those out.
I just realized Kyle's probably fucking with me.
No. Seriously, there was a Novin Falcon there.
Yeah, there was.
Where
Really? Okay.
Specimen had the haptic glove. Right next to him, there was a guy with a steering wheel, and he was doing some Need for Speed thing. And he had a Novin Falcon, and I took a picture of it. I put it on Reddit.
He had a gun handle attached to it, like
Right.
you held it like a gun, and then presumably it would apply force to your hand. My guess is to emulate recoil, but I didn't trust it.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw that thing. Okay.
Did anyone here try it?
No.
Nope.
I just joked
Missed
about it
it.
not having a penis on it, so I thought that was funny.
Yeah, so I don't think that they would have that at the conference. I think that they wanted to keep the conference a little bit more elevated, I guess, than that. But
There were kids there and stuff, so I could see why.
yeah, and investors and the
Kind of thing you do
public and all
behind the
that.
conference.
Yeah, not the
One
public,
kid.
of course.
They'll eventually be, the adult conferences will have that stuff. It'll be there soon.
Yeah, when
that's
are we going to
probably
have
where
our
it'll be
first
found.
VR adult conference?
They should have an
Hosted
adult
by
room at
Gunter.
least.
I
Yeah.
can't.
Behind the black curtain.
Yes.
I think VR will just take over the normal adult conferences eventually.
Yeah, I agree.
True. I didn't think of that. How about, did you see Kite and Lightning? Kite and Lightning had this
Yeah.
demo where they had people really rendered in there. How did that
video.
work?
No, it's
That's
video.
actually stereo. Yeah, that's video.
It's really well done though.
Yeah,
It
they
is.
have transparency on their videos, and it makes it really convincing. And stereoscopy, too.
Yeah.
And they have like a controlled when they film it. They have the controlled. It's not exactly like camera pathing, but they spin the model. I believe is what it is. They spin the person who's being filmed gently so that it emulates the motion path of the camera through the scene when they play it back.
The thing is you can't give the player control over the perspective for that, right? It's like motion controlled camera stuff. Like, they're visual effects guys. They're basically running real time visual effects tricks, and it works really, really well. But
Really well.
not for something where you want to interact.
Plus the audio was awesome.
Deep Rifter, who comes here a lot, went to the Kite and Lightning party like a week or two before, I guess, and he reported a whole bunch of cool things. It was really cool that he messaged me about this and wrote it up. But one of the coolest things was when he put on one of the high-definition headsets, where he went was actually just a copy or a mirror of the room he was in. So for a moment, he didn't even know if he had put the Rift on.
Right.
And that's wild. I love that.
Isn't that what they do with the Valve demo too? Isn't that how it starts? Like it starts off with a copy of the room that you just put the set on in, and then changes.
Well, that's a really good idea.
Tell you in a
I
couple
like that a
weeks.
lot.
I'm heading down there soon.
It's a good idea if you are demoing something, but you can't do that if somebody buys it for their own house.
Right.
They could scan their own room.
Right.
Right.
That
Maybe that or
roller
is cool
coaster
for
demo
the
that
demo,
Bruce
I think.
did, where the roller coaster demo starts out in a generic living room on a generic chair, and then it zooms you into the roller coaster.
Oh, yeah, that was
kinda
cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of neat little tricks that you can do that people are just starting to do. I think things are going to get crazy.
Yeah, some really creative stuff all over. So how about we throw it out to the audience that's here with us for questions. If you want to ask anything, to these guys or make some comments, please grab a microphone. And I really encourage you, if you have your mic working. And we'll also throw it out to the Hitbox stream for any questions.
Me, Holotape. Hello.
Hey, what's your question?
Hi.
Recently we were sort of reminded that Oculus is working on, I guess, I don't know if it's going to be a whole mobile platform or just a mobile compatible version of the Rift. What do you guys see in that space? Do you think it's just going to be more of the Derovis, Yay 3D sort of phone adapter kind of things, or what do you think Oculus has up their sleeve?
Good question.
Well, okay, so I know what you're referring to is that, Palmer mentioned in the Ubercast that, hey, we're working on a mobile or Android SDK, and a couple news sites ran with that and made it a big deal. It was no big deal. I mean, we already knew that he was doing that, or at least he reminded us that we should already know that. No, I have a feeling that the Rift may become a dual mode type of device where it can run off of a mobile or Android operating system of sorts and do smaller things, and then when you get home you can plug it in and get into the big stuff, like, I don't know, Half-Life 3 or something.
Plug it into something like a Steam box.
Right.
I totally agree with that. I totally agree. Basically, the future Rift is going to be the present day Rift combined with the game face, basically.
Right.
Plus, Half-Life 3 confirmed.
Yep.
You just said it. Now we know.
There's no
Stop leaking intel, Kyle.
there's no doubt that this is gonna have to go mobile, right? Like, the fact that I've got a lap full of about 100 wires right now, it just can't stand. Like, that's ridiculous. So, like,
The Hydra's especially bad.
Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And as technology improves in these mobile devices, like, give it to me. That'd be amazing to be able to, like, walk around my house, and they have a camera on them too, so I can actually see where I'm going.
All right. Let's take another question on the right-hand side. Can you say your name and what's your question and comment?
Hey everybody, it's Jason, piece of fruit.
Hey.
Hey everybody, I have a question regarding multiplayer. So we all know at some stage we've had gaming sessions, we've brought over, dragged consoles to friends' houses, or piled all our computers into one room. There's something a lot of fun about playing in the same room with friends, and so I was wondering, was there any multiplayer experiences there, or more so, is there any ideas anyone has for multiplayer experiences that don't kind of defeat the purpose, putting on a headset and blocking yourself out? Like, what could we do with that experience in a room with people that would make that different or worthwhile, that would be different than just doing it remotely?
I like the idea of a Riftmax theater.
Yeah. Well, like, that's the thing. Why wouldn't you just layer it? Like, put on your headset, come into a place like Riftmax, and then play the game there, and then you're all in the same room together.
Well, there was the couch nights. Yeah, exactly. The Oculus demo itself has two people sitting beside each other. They wouldn't have to be in the same room, though. It's not that's not part of the game design, except that there's no voice communication. So if you want to hear and gloat at the other person, you have to say it in the real world.
Well, in the demo booth, you are.
Yeah, speaking of the couch nights, I want to say I'm sorry to whoever it was that I just, like, absolutely destroyed in couch nights at the end. I'm sorry.
It was funny. Me and James McRae, the Janus VR guy.
James, yeah.
Yeah, we played couch nights together, and we didn't even, like, touch the controller. We were just leaning in, looking at the chairs, looking at like trying at the positional tracking, and looking for bugs.
Yeah, I actually warned when I did that demo at GDC, like, I warned my partner, do not defeat each other because that'll end the demo.
Yeah, exactly. It was on a timer, so eventually it faded out for us. But dude, I was so unimpressed by it. I hate to throw Oculus under the bus too, but it was just like, I don't know. It was like I felt like if I'm going to be sitting there playing a game on a couch, why wouldn't I just play a game sitting on a couch? You know.
Well,
there's some really interesting things you could do in that demo. There's some really interesting things you could do in that demo. Like the first time I played it, I took my little couch knight guy, girl, and ran over to the other player and jumped on his lap and hit him with my sword.
Yeah,
and I got someone to finally return the favor, and that was really kind of cool to have this thing like that close to me. And the first time that one of the knights ran between my feet and the table, I actually picked up my feet in the real world because I didn't want to get hurt if one of them swung their sword. I found the environment really engaging.
That's better served as like an AR demo or like a hologram game or something. Like why would I play a game where
it is basically an AR demo simulated in VR because we don't have the technology to do that in AR.
Right. I would rather have a good VR game than a good fake AR game.
I think the reason for that demo is really to illustrate that no one who puts on that game is going to get motion sick, right? I think that's the reason that demo exists.
That's what I mean. Like Oculus plays everything too safe with these demos. You know, like if I made a game that strictly stuck to the best practices guide and put it up on Kickstarter, it wouldn't pass. So, like, what are we going to do? Like, right now, everybody that has the headset will deal with the problems that breaking the guide entails, right? Like locomotion and stuff. So, I don't know what to tell them.
I think that might have been one of the bad things that came out of that Facebook buyout, and I hate to bring it up, but was that now they're putting their necks out there. I mean, now they have that daddy, and they have to actually worry about law, getting sued, worry about safety in the game and things like that. And so they kind of pulled back where they could have really just pressed forward and shown us eValkyrie standing, and all these other games or simulations.
I mean, but they showed eValkyrie at GDC.
Well, that's interesting. All right, let's move on to another question. We have a couple people standing. On the left side, state your name and your question.
So, hey, this is MikeArms, the developer of Riftmax. I was wondering... Hey, so, yeah, did any of you guys check those 60-second pitches? I was watching a couple of those, but didn't really get didn't get anything exciting. No, exciting talk about anything that came out of those, and I was just wondering what the purpose.
Go for it, Matt.
Saw anything cool?
I did one.
Yeah, there was quite a few people that went. I peed my pants. It was nerve-wracking doing it, but everybody kind of got up there, and I didn't hear a lot of interesting stuff.
I think it's interesting that we saw people with gloves, saying that they had gloves.
Oh yeah.
We saw one person wearing a glove.
Yeah. There was a lot of self-promotion, of course, right? Because you're not going to go up there and announce a new project or tell anybody anything about it. I don't think, because either you're telling people on the internet, or you're not going to save it up for a 60-second pitch at a conference. So, but the gloves were interesting. I tried them out and they were horrible, but they're on the right track anyway.
Yeah, that's probably, if we're talking about the format of SVVR, that would be one of the things I would cut out of the next one, probably.
I mean, I think it serves a purpose. I think the purpose of the 60-second pitch is people watch it and they go, oh, that one sounded interesting. I'm just going to write that down. I'm going to go check out their expo booth. I'm going to get their business card. It's about networking.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like the beginning of any meeting, right? Everybody stand up and introduce yourselves. So, after that, everyone can come up to me and be like, "Hey, you're the technolist guy," instead of having to stare at people's name tags.
I do wish they had a list, though.
Did anybody actually catch the video of me trying Game Face? Anybody want to ask that question?
No.
No, I didn't see it.
Which demo did you try? The Halloween one?
No. So Ed comes up. He's like, "Look, I got the new." And actually, Brian was standing there with us, Matt. And he's like, "Oh, you're not going to believe what I'm looking at." And so I put on. I'm like, "What a great thing to be looking at in an HD, a high def screen." 1440p. It was amazing. And I didn't tell anybody what the actual demo was in the video. I just kind of described it. Yeah, it was porn.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I tried it about 4 times during the conference, and like every time it was like, oh, the battery must be running low. Oh, I got to restart it. Oh, there's something, the IPD is way off or something. And then like finally he cornered me and he was like, okay, try it now, and put it on my head. And it was like I was standing in a pumpkin patch or something, and I was honestly pretty unimpressed. It was a little slow, and it was a little just binky. I wasn't impressed with it.
Oh, I loved it. I loved Game Face. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, it's a prototype. I mean, if it was one step more backwards, it would have been a render. But you can't show renders because then, people scream at you and downvote you.
Yeah, like I see the DK2 and I see Morpheus, and then people are strapping an Android to my face, and I'm like, meh, it's not. That doesn't cut it.
I will tell you before I forget, though, like, if you're skeptical about motion controls, try PrioVR before you give up on them.
Oh, I will, as soon as they send me one. But until then, it's like, okay.
So we have a final question over here on my left. How you doing? What's your name?
I'm Jake, in the margin. I'm a YouTuber and a VR researcher. So I was wondering, like, with VR, different genres are more popular than would ever have been popular in standard video games. What are your picks for unexpected breakout genres? So like you were talking about the meditation game you played, that sort of thing, that are just sort of unexpected.
I like that. What do you guys think?
I've got one.
I have one.
Go ahead.
If I may. I think some of you expect this, but medicine is going to be big using virtual reality, and I say that because of James Blaha and what he's doing to cure lazy eye, for example. And so and PTSD treatment, anxieties and phobias, I think medicine is going to come out of left field and be really big in the industry.
Yeah, different therapies.
I think that there is a genre out there that has not been identified yet, and that will be the big breakout one that we just none of us can see coming right now.
Are you talking about the land shark genre again?
Well, yes.
I'm actually pretty confident that I have one of those games, like on paper right now, but I plan to make it, and it needs VR to be a genre. So I'm thinking it's a new genre basically, and I really hope.
Gaming.
No, it's not. No, I'm not talking about Technolust. I'm talking about like something I've got planned.
All right.
I do think Technolust, like adventure games, are going to be a pretty big genre, especially the kind that involve a lot of exploration and that kind of thing.
Totally. They're making a comeback. There's a ton of them already, right? There's Technolust, there's Loading Human, there's the Gallery. That's gonna be a big thing. Even more kind of in the traditional point and click adventure style. I can see that making a huge comeback for sure.
I personally think that when gloves are there and they're reliable, that adventure games with gloves are going to be just a huge, exciting experience.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I think would be, and not really a genre, but more on the media side of it, is we were talking the experiential stuff. I think it was Jaunt was saying that they were going to have the 360 video capture of events and stuff, and put you in places where you would never be able to go as just a normal layman, which is like on stage at a concert. You could actually sit up there with Rolling Stones and from stage watch them perform, or backstage see them just mulling around in the dressing room, stuff like that. I think that's going to be big, because it's kind of like a Twitter. You want to get in the life of a celebrity, but do it as a first person, kind of like a being John Malkovich kind of thing. I think that's going to be a big genre that's coming out.
I I have a pessimistic point of view, kind of from that perspective. Like things like the jaunt camera will probably be used in ways that we wouldn't want them to be used, or well, depending. I don't know. Like for CCTV cameras, basically, controlled by a person in a Rift. You could plop one above a concert and basically look around below you and laser target suspicious individuals and send security to them, things like that.
Oh, it's a paranoid view, though.
Well, you think it won't happen.
It's going to make someone money.
It's pretty naive, yeah.
All right, so we're going to start coming to a close here, guys. Anything you guys want to promote or send people to, you're welcome to do that. I'll just open it up for whoever wants to do that.
Yeah, so gonna do the VR developer chat soon regarding SVVR, and look to Reddit for an announcement, and go to vrchat.net to download the client.
Yeah. We have a Sacramento VR meetup number 2 coming. I think it's June 28th. So if anybody's in the area, we'd love to have you. If you want to present, we need some speakers. So that would be great.
I don't know. The only thing I can pimp is videos I did for Kyle. Check those out on YouTube.
I'm good. If any of my Kickstarter backers are watching, I'm sure there's probably some right in front of me. The surveys will be going out as soon as Kickstarter finishes processing everybody. So we're going to be getting your information about how you want to be portrayed in the game if you did those tiers and whatnot. So fear not, I haven't forgotten about you.
I guess while we're doing closing notes, so I took like 2,000 photos, like I said, from SVVR. I am going at some point to put a link to them up on Reddit. I'm not quite done processing them. And also, just everybody check out my channel if you haven't already. It's EVRydayVR, all one word. Just Google it up. You should find it.
Cool. Great channel.
So I guess everybody's already probably seen all my videos posted, plastered, spammed all over Reddit. All of my SVVR videos are up on YouTube /Reverend KJR. Major shout out to all of my fellow podcasters. Everybody go check out PodVR, EnterVR. And I guess while you're at it, go ahead and check out RevVR podcast on roadtovr.com. Woohoo.
Woo!
And I forget.
You know what? Yeah, let's not forget about Kent, too.
Yeah, Voices of VR. Yeah.
Yeah, Voices of VR. New to the scene. He actually was part of the Ubercast, but he just floated in and out so much that he didn't get a chance to talk. But he was there. But he had littler fish or bigger fish to fry. I don't know how to say it.
He interviewed like 50 people or something ridiculous like that.
It's unbelievable. He interviewed everyone. He interviewed me. He interviewed Chris. I think everybody here got interviewed. It was crazy. Busy guy, and he had the right equipment and he had the right attitude. So I'm looking forward to hearing all of the different interviews he's got. So shout out to Kent.
Yeah, he's a hustler.
Chris?
And last but not least, just check out EnterVR, the podcast. And thanks for the shout out, Rev. And check out all the other podcasters, PodVR, Voices of VR, like what the Rev said. And yeah, that's me.
Chris's next podcast should be avoided at all costs.
Yes.
Oh, it's going to be good.
Chris, one of these days I'm going to let you take me down the rabbit hole. How does that sound?
Whoa, that sounds weird.
I'll make sure you like it.
One finger.
Well, on that note, we're going to end the show. I think, we could talk forever, and we're probably going to be talking in the after party here, and hopefully we can leave the stream on, and that's another reason to join us in the stream. You sometimes get a little pre and post party and more than you get on the YouTube. I do want to say that the Riftmax poll came back. Will you be attending SVVR next year? And it was 50% yes, 30% no, and 20% huh. That's the result. And
what?
Huh? And that's about it. So
I'll
see you next time. I'll see you next time on Virtually Incorrect with me, Gunter. It's been a pleasure spending the time with you, and thanks to all the guests and audience members and Riftmax and Roger Essig also for the great artwork behind me. And yeah, it's just been great. So good night, everybody.